My name is Lucas Gerler. Today I'm going to share a couple of different stories. You can follow me on these different places. This is actually the last slide, which is good for you guys to get to know me, but let's go to the very first slide if we don't mind. I'm going to try to get through this in 8 minutes. I'll share this with anybody if you want me to airdrop it to you. And again, if you just connect with me, that's the easiest way to connect. I put 3 of my companies up here. First, I'm going to go through my story, how I came to the light. Lucas translates as the light bringer. If you see different tattoos on me, you'll see things like Metatron and things like that. And so I've obviously done a lot of psychedelics, been in a lot of different spaces, a lot of different ceremonies, have a lot to say, but I also know that you all are here for a reason and that we are all here to connect. So I think it's ironic that my company is called Liquid Gold, first of all. Click next real quick. Benefit Honoring is another company. Benefit Honoring is not my company. It's a company that we work with to directly inject capital into indigenous tribes and nations across the world. And then go to the next one, please. And Panacea Plant Sciences is an intellectual property out company that we're not the pharmaceutical company. We're working with them and trying to change the way that they work. And so we're bringing things like protection, and we give 34% of our equity into perpetuity to an indigenous groups or 503(b) environmental nonprofits. So how did I get here? Next slide, please. So my path to the light. In short, I have been in 6 car wrecks. I've been struck by lightning not once, but twice. I've been bumped out of the water by a shark. I've died clinically for 15 minutes where I had to jump back into my body. And those are just some of the traumas that I've experienced, aside from trying to kill myself. That was a pretty big one too. So what I got through all of that with, and the way that I retuned my body, my mind, and my spirit, for me, was things like meditation, but then also the help of ethnogenic plants. I had an experience where I took 15 grams of psilocybin, or psychedelic mushrooms. In that experience, I had a vision that I was going to come down. I had 12 different gods that channeled through me, that I spoke in tongues that I do not know, in song specifically. I was in water, it was a full moon, and I envisioned elephants opening up the gate. I later found out that elephants actually celebrate new moons as well with psychedelics. So it was a very interesting experience that brought me down to, at the time, the first conversation that I had with people on stage was at Canadelic. I then met this gentleman in the back, Kashi. He heard that I was making a bioreactor to make bufo to increase access, and then that's what connected me and got me here today. So there's all sorts of synergistic things that probably brought you all here, and so that's what I'm having you guys really lean into the light, and when you are called, and the way that I am calling you, I want you to really pay attention to. So everybody remembers before COVID? That's a stat. I put on the bottom of there, source the internet, aka trust me, because that's what you have to do these days, but it really is the fucking stat, right? So 14% of people identified as having certain health issues before COVID. Well, guess what COVID did? 64 freaking percent of people identify as having mental health issues. That's just the people that are reporting it. What about the other 25% of people or whatever that they have mental health issues, but they're just lying, right? And there's not a thing as mental health issues. It's a constant battle with mental health, and there is no one solution. There's not one psychedelic, there's not one ceremony that you can sit in that is going to fix everything. It's a continuous process that you go through your entire life. Right? Drug money. It's really good money, whether it's illegal or it's legal. The cartel nets 20 to 30 billion a year on just the US. The international pharmaceutical market, $1.5 trillion. 1 out of every $4 in the United States healthcare system is spent on diabetes healthcare. Another $1 is spent on keeping people alive for the last 2 years of their life. That's half of every $1 of healthcare in the United States. The Nagoya Protocol exists. None of you have heard of it. Raise your hand if you've heard of it. The Nagoya Protocol was signed by a lot of countries, 150. The United States did not sign it. It's an international protocol on how we work with communities, groups, and that we extract and give back, and that we create a sustainable environment. It's about benefit sharing, and it is something that in the international market, when you go to a market with drugs, to be ethical, you should follow it. The ego and the condor prophecy, because I have 3 minutes or less left, I'm gonna go very quickly. You guys all probably know it. There was a couple different ceremonies, things like that happened down here on land that over in Homestead. And there's different ways to fulfill a prophecy, but let's just say it's been fulfilled. We're all here, right? We all have the opportunity. From here, what we do with it is the big difference. And then there's lots of different translations, so I'm not gonna go into that just because of time. But think of the eagle very quickly as one state of mind, the condor as another state of mind. We are all in the eagle state of mind. Different people on Earth are more in the condor state of mind. And so it's reconnecting to them and figuring out how to get back that condor state of mind, okay? 7-generation principle. If you're native, indigenous, it's probably something that in some way, shape, or form shows up in your culture. The idea is that you were in your mom's stomach and experienced all the traumas that she had throughout her whole life. So your kids are going to carry with them whatever you pass down, okay? It's a simple interpretation of it. But everything that I do to help as many people as fast as possible, and I do it with the intent to help out future generations and create a new ancestral earth for them. Or bring back the ancestral earth is the idea that I have in my head. Sometimes when we increase access to drugs, though, they infringe upon people, communities, or the plants themselves. Synchronously, you guys heard earlier about environmental law, natural law, things like that. There are ways to bring personhood like a corporation to a plant. We are starting to do that, and you can protect a river. You can protect a plant. Countries that do it, and the more that y'all put this out in the world, spread the message, we can do this together. Benefit honoring is the in-between that allows us to donate 34% of our equity to indigenous tribes and nonprofits. Panacea Plant Sciences is the company that we have patents, things like long COVID treatment. I got COVID and I found that microdosing and CBD cured it afterwards, any long-term effects. So if you have those effects, take some CBD, take some microdosing, it'll go away. Panacea Plant Sciences also, we beat the DEA last year, the first time ever. They were trying to schedule a drug Schedule 1. We were the company that came forward, tried to make a comment and found that you couldn't even make a comment on the DEA's website. So then we had them extend the comment section, and then us, along with some other people, jumped on. You guys have maybe heard of Hamilton Morris. He was the most famous person that was, part of the group, and we beat the DEA twice. And so we're looking to dismantle the DEA or hold them accountable for the drug war. I also work with a bunch of lawyers. I spend $100 million a year in legal and mass torts, finding people that have been hurt by pharmaceuticals companies, things like that as well. So everything is reciprocal or cyclical, and I try to really heal people, and I can't do anything alone. I have to work with all of y'all in every situation, in every way that you could possibly imagine to fix this, to solve this. And when I go to DC and when I sit behind closed doors, the issue comes down to things like money, things like laws. Religion's role has now emerged as a way that we can, without waiting for certain people or things or changes, to take freedom ourselves. For instance, this space could become a church. And then anything that we did here would be legal as long as we are members, and we don't have to go to Costa Rica necessarily. Not saying that you shouldn't also do that, but when we're talking about access, it might be easier for certain people to go here and other people to go there. So the same way that in Roman times, sometimes there would be a family that would just be like, here's the road in the path. We need to create that path for everybody to be able to follow, okay? There are ways, we just have to do it together. And so the idea that I have, and that I encourage this to go into the discourse, and this is really the last thing, is just the idea that we need to have the same way that there is a denomination of Christianity that then protects everything that Catholics do, good or bad, that we need to be able to do that same thing and tie all of our churches together. When we have churches separate, that is the issue right now. I won't go into the specific things about specific churches, but we can lose our protections as fast as we earn them. It's only recently that we got them. So that's my quick talk. I really appreciate all y'all's time and attention. I can definitely feel it. I love the love. Happy to connect more after this.